host of the television talk show Ask Arlene, which airs on Thursdays at 6:30. And as a business consultant and life coach, I help you to move forward in your business, project, or endeavor. So if you always wanted to write a book, but you just haven't seemed to get started, or you always wanted to 10x that business that you already have, expand it to the next level, you know exactly what you need to do, but you just haven't done it? Well, I've already purchased all the courses, read all the books, the Tony Robbins, all sorts. I have several degrees, including a master's degree and credits toward a doctorate.
Hello and welcome to the Ask Arlene show. We're so excited today because we have a special guest, part 2 with Darla Williams. She is a wonderful, wonderful coach. She has been doing the art of self-love, and we're so excited about that. She has a wonderful son, and she's been in the business world for quite some years, 5 years to be exact. She's also here on the show today because she has this wonderful art that she does called the 90-day affirmations. So step number 2 in the 10 secrets to overcoming fear and living courageously is the secret of affirmations and visualization. And so today, Darla is going to tell us about how she came to this realization that affirmations actually work, visualization actually works. I've shared with you guys my story about how I was going through the valley and was very challenged in life, challenged in my career. I was the head of a Chamber of Commerce executive director. I was moving and shaking. I worked with high-level elected officials in politics. And lo and behold, I got recruited out of 300 people to go clear across the country. And what happened was they fired me. I was the first ever person in that level of color. And what they said was it just wasn't a fit when the new board of directors came in. And so they publicly fired me by putting my picture on the cover of the newspaper. So some people never get on the cover of a newspaper, but can you imagine being on the cover of a newspaper and across your face it says fired? And I was stuck. And after that, my mom came down with an incurable disease. And then I was really stuck after she passed away. She'd never been in the hospital. My grandmother was 103. And so this concept, these 10 concepts, 10 secrets that I came up with helped me to get up, helped me to start a new business, helped me to move to my dream location, helped me to remarry, helped me to just really begin to live life courageously. And this woman here is also an example of that. And so I'd love to welcome her to some of you and then reintroduce her to others of you. Her name is Darla Williams. Welcome, Darla.
Hello. Thank you for having me on today. I appreciate it.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show. So I've been talking a lot about secret number 2, which is visualization and affirmations. And I feel like that is really important in terms of living courageously. But I'd love for you to tell us your story about how you have been living courageously. You told us last time in part 1 that you had challenges with your son in that he was in need of, go ahead, you tell us the story.
Well, I had early in his development found out that he needed mental health care and intense mental health care. So I began a journey of having to dive in and learn a lot about all different conditions and symptoms and all of that stuff, because they were teaching me how to be that coach for him at home when he couldn't get to the counseling and other things like that because of the condition being so severe. I spent a lot of years in and out of therapy with him so that we could do a lot to help him in growth and development. So over the years, it was like a crash course that God just sort of put me in a space to actually learn about all the different mental health issues that are out there, and gave me a fail-proof plan to help other people as well. Not always can we help those that we want to, but we're always available to help those who are in need and are ready to. What was that, Arlene?
Through the challenge, did you feel like you got support from the schools and from other parties when you were going through?
Oh, yeah. There was a ton of support through the mental health. There was a lot of, I had a lot of people because of domestic violence and other issues along the way. So I had a lot of advocates that came in along the way. social advocates that were there, school organizations, counselors, as well as the psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors, therapists, and everything else along the way, including mental health hospitals along the way. So, I mean, there was a lot.
That's wonderful. Many people may not know this, but for a couple of years after my mom passed away, my mom was a nurse, and she always wanted me to do something calmer and gentler than politics and the stuff that I was doing. So I taught. She wanted me to either do nursing or teaching. And so I went into the schools and I taught special education. And so I was really interested in knowing whether or not you found that you got support. Because there's a big difference between counseling, which is what I was familiar with, social work, social services, special education, and coaching. And I wondered if you would talk a little bit to what the differences were, because you were doing that stuff for your son, but then you got into this concept of coaching. Can you tell us a little bit about what's the difference? And then I'll just chime in and share with what I see as the difference.
For myself personally, what I see is in regards to the mental health system and the Western the Western model, what I see is it is a system where you get in, you get information, you get diagnoses, and you have a team that comes along and helps you with whatever those resources are. Now, they're very itemized. So you get put with different people, and if you don't have all the pieces, it can become frustrating and confusing. Now, what I've come to find in coaching is different. It's not coming in and just being that platform for them to come in and speak and get their words out. It's also being able to be that person that's on the sideline that can give suggestions because of the experience.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Experiential. I agree with you. I think one of the key things that I learned when I was going through the valley is that coaching people came up with a plan. Like, these are steps that will get me to where I want to go. Simple and succinctly, as opposed to counseling, which is still important. Counseling is
absolutely important.
Different. Like, counseling is, let me go back to your childhood, or let me go back years and see what it is that is causing this problem or this challenge that you're having, as opposed to, let me give you the steps to fix it. And so when my mom passed away, I always use this example. Darla, I knew I was supposed to get her things out of the house, but I was apprehensive, scared, whatever you want to call it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't get her things out of the house. I was really in mourning. And I went to counseling. And the counselor would tell me, Arlene, you need to get the things out of the house, put her things out. I knew I needed to put her things out, and I would spend $150 each time for her to ask me, did you put the things out? And I would say no. And she would say, you need to put the things out, and we discuss why I need to put the things out. I totally got it. When I went to coaching, the distinction was I needed to move forward. I needed to win at the game of life. I needed to live courageously. And one of the things she told me as far as getting the things out was, take the things from the bedroom and put them in the basement. Okay, I could do that. I couldn't put them out, but I could move them from the bedroom to the basement. Then she said, move them from the basement to the garage. I can move them to the garage. Another step. Then from the garage, somebody came and we were able to load the things in the back of the car, and then the things went out. So those were succinct steps that I could use to win. And that's why we're here today. We're talking about living courageously. But one of the key secrets that you have today that you're talking to us about is secret number 2, which is the secret of visualization and affirmations.
Right.
Why are affirmations so important?
I believe that affirmations are so important because it is the tool that you can use to refortify, or the repetition that you can use each day to reiterate to yourself the power of the word for yourself, so that it can empower you to believe in yourself. So affirmations are important because they are the key to self-confidence and building your self-worth.
Key to self-confidence and key to building your worth. I love that. What I have learned is that whatever it is that we believe for ourselves is probably what we will get. We find that most people earn within $5,000 of the people that they're around. So your friends earn pretty much what you earn because they know what you earn, what you know. You will earn pretty much within $5,000. It could be a little more, it could be a little less, but generally speaking, you don't go from making 100,000 to making 350,000. It generally is, if you're making 50, I mean, you'll make incremental moves above and below. Affirmations deal with our self-image. And so you're making pretty much consistently what you think you should make, about what you think you should make. I mean, we complain and we say, well, I think I'm worth a little more than this. I think they should pay me a little more, but you're pretty much making the same amount that you made before. Why is that? A lot of people say, well, it's because of my pedigree, it's because of my background, it's because of my academics, perhaps. But I promise you, you are making whatever it is. I promise you, there are people who are making $10,000 more than you that have the same background, that have absolutely no additional academic prowess than you. But they're making that $10,000 more than you because they believe that they're worth $10,000 more. And so they've gone after avenues that will elicit that. And that's why affirmations are so important, guys, because when you're affirming yourself, you're deciding, you're going to step number one, which is decide what you want, right? Because I always say this, remember, some people say, well, I'm happy where I am now. I don't need affirmations. I have a job. I have my kids. Guess what? There is no such thing as standing still. You're either moving forward or you're moving backwards. So you may think you're standing still, but you're actually moving backwards. Okay? So the idea is to get that framework that will propel us forward so that we can get on that journey and begin moving. Affirmations is a key tool to do that. Tell me how. Give me one example where affirmations have helped you. Because I know you have this wonderful business where you make these affirmation cards and you share them with other people. But tell us an example, hardcore, of how affirmations helped you.
What I would like to share is when I started using these things for myself, when I began developing the Art of Living Self-Love, which is one of the courses that I teach. It's a 90-day course with affirmations and assignments and stuff like that. But the affirmations that I was building during that time, what I was doing was I was putting them on Post-it notes and I was putting them on my mirror so I could see them. And when I began, I'm going to be really honest, I wasn't really in a headspace where I believed anything that I was actually reading. I was actually at the base of it all in myself and trying to create that confidence when I didn't have any. Due to, different circumstances and things that I talked about in the last show of domestic violence and overcoming that, I really didn't have a self-worth. So using affirmations was where it began for me. And I can remember the one that helped me was I radiate self-confidence. Because I can remember the first few times that I read it, and probably 40 times or more before it finally actually took to me. I had been standing there and many times over repeating it and had the internal dialogue literally arguing with myself as I was speaking them. I was literally saying out loud, I radiate self-confidence. But my entire body language was sunken down and curled over, and I didn't believe those words. So the internal dialogue that was going on was like, yeah, right. Sure you do. Sure you radiate that. And I had to bite back and fight back those words and literally take charge of that space. And I had to realize the importance that I needed to hone into what I'm thinking. So when I realized that and I started paying attention to when I was saying something and whether or not that internal dialogue kicked in, I knew that I could take charge of that and tell that, no, that's not truth.
Beautiful.
I do radiate
We're
self-confidence.
going to take a break now, but I want you guys to know that when we come back, we are going to tell you exactly some steps that you can use in order to make your affirmations more valuable. So many people say, well, affirmations have not worked for me in the past, but there is a reason. There are some things that we can do in conjunction with the affirmations to make them more effective. That's number one. And at the end of the show, we're going to give you a special gift that we would like you to go and take advantage of in terms of these affirmations. So we're going to go to our little break and we're going to come right back and share with you some of those tools and tips. Thank you. I'm Arlene, host of the television talk show Ask Arlene, which airs on Thursdays at 6:30. And I'm here to tell you 2 reasons why you should join our Speakers Bureau training and how to become a world-class speaker. 1, revenue generation. People who know how to communicate well earn more dollars and cents. And 2, if you have a day job, you're not a speaker, teacher, author, trainer, you're going to gain promotion on your job if you're better able to communicate with confidence in those board meetings. Now, you say, why should I join your group, Arlene? There are so many programs out there. Well, I'm guaranteeing you an interview on television or radio if you complete our 10 sessions of our Speakers Bureau training. So I have a plethora of friends that do the same types of things that I do, and so we're guaranteeing you an interview on either television or radio. And you say, well, why else, Arlene? Why else should I join? Well, if you join our Speakers Bureau after having taken the 10-session training, I am going to help you, along with our team, to launch that speaking career that you always envisioned so that you can use your message to change the world. So there's so many programs out there and they tell you how to be a speaker, but I'm going to actually help you to get booked on paid speaking engagements, on television and on radio if you complete all 10 sessions and you join our Speakers Bureau. I hope to see you there and see you using your dream, your vision, and your talent to change the world. Bye-bye. See you there. Okay, about visualizations and affirmations today, and we're so excited because we have Darla Williams with us, who is the head of Darla Williams Creations, where she does coaching, as well as she creates these beautiful 90-day affirmation cards. And she's going to tell us at the end of the show how we can get these beautiful affirmation cards. Before we move on, though, we're talking about how to make affirmations more effective. So many people have said, well, I stood in the mirror and I said, yeah, I am rich, and I didn't get rich. Well, there's a reason. Number 1, you did not believe it. And number 2, the emotion behind what you were sharing was negative. You were just doing it as a casual joke, fully intending. Your intention behind it was, this is not going to work. So I'm going to give you a secret. When we do these affirmations, 1, we have to have the emotion that says, I'm going to get it, I'm so excited, I'm going to get it. But the emotion that says, I have already received this thing that I'm stating, which is why I like the I am statements when we're doing these affirmations. 2, in addition to our intention and our belief and our emotion, is the concept of visualizing it. So seeing the thing as if it's already done. So do I mean thinking it? No, not just thinking it. I mean seeing it. So I give you the quick example. And Darla's going to confirm this because this is really her wheelhouse, so to speak. But she had to see her son in a situation where he was being helped. She had to see herself as a successful business owner or a successful entrepreneur in order to even begin the process. We don't do things that we think we're not going to be successful at, but we always do things that we think we're going to be successful at. So why is it, just giving you the example of relationship, why is it that 9 times out of 10, we end up with the same type of person, the same type of man, the same type of woman, and we go through the same cycles? Because of what's going on in our head. So if we can create these negative situations because of what we're thinking, is it possible? Is it possible, Ian? Is it possible, Katrina, that we could create amazing situations based on what we think and what we decide to think? The answer is yes. Yes. If we begin thinking outside of the box, and this is the last thing, and we're going to go back to Darla. Guess what, guys? There is no box. People always talk about thinking outside the box. There's no box, you know? So I'd like for you to share with us, Darla. You were giving us examples of how visualization worked in your life. Tell us what are some of the steps that you used in conjunction with the affirmation cards that you're using now to make them even more powerful?
Well, with the Art of Learning Self-Love, what I do is I have daily assignments. So there are different little things that you do that is going
Daily
to
assignment.
empower, and guide you through some of those pesky moments in your life that you really don't want to have to deal with, but you have to deal with because you have to go back through it and work through those pain points in your life. When we have circumstances and situations that arise, i.e., what I've said already, mental health issues with my son, having to balance that, or dealing with leaving domestic violence, you have a lot of pain stories in your life. That's what I had. And I had to learn how to process those. So I created a step-by-step process for 90 days to help you to start identifying who you really are and what you really want, helping
Why
you
did you
to
pick 90 days? Tell us why you picked 90 days.
90 days was
We know that 20 takes 21 days to start a habit. So why did you
to
pick
form a habit. It starts and forms a habit after 21 days. After 45 days, you can actually rewrite your program. But the consistency after the 45 to the 90 is now the reiteration, where it becomes a habit, where you basically begin shifting. That's where the shift begins, is after the 45 days to the 90, because now you've already done the footwork. You've created the habit. Now you're willing to get up and do it. Now you've started working from the habit to the process. So now you're formatting that understanding of yourself. But then from that 45 to the 90, now you're reiterating to yourself over and over again the same things and literally causing the repetition. When we look at a child and tell them that we want them to write the letter A, we don't expect a child to pick up the pencil, walk over to the paper, and write a letter A. We expect to go through the process. So, and teaching them. So it's the same thing. We're now reteaching ourselves to do that through that 90 days. That's why I chose that.
So we have about 5 minutes left. I'm so grateful that you shared that key piece, because time frame is everything. Some people say affirmations don't work, but you did it once or twice. Of course it didn't work. What do we do once or twice and then we become experts at it? Very few things. So the same way in life, we have to do something over time in order to develop a consistency. We also have to put this thing out there several times. And many people don't think of this because many of the people who listen to the show are Christians, but whatever we put out is what we get back. So if we're putting out one time that says, I'm a successful entrepreneur, or I'm a whatever it is that you truly want, well, maybe it was just a spark. But you got to build a whole fire, a 4-alarm fire, where you're sending out this message and people are getting it. Just like now, if I say, Arlene's show is great. Nobody heard that. But if I say the Ask Arlene show is great, okay, more people heard it. Now I get on TV and I say, Ask Arlene show is great. I get on social media, I say, Ask Arlene show is great. I get on top of City Hall or a tall building, Empire State Building, and I start shouting it out. Or I'm on 42nd Street. My point is, we have to do it several times. Whatever it is, it will work if you work it. Okay, but 9 times out of 10, the challenge is we don't do it long enough to work it. Like the lady said to me, okay, go from the basement to the garage to the outside. Like, it was a process. I had to keep doing things in order to manifest what I wanted. And we understand this concept when it comes to school. You know, we understand the concept that, okay, I have to do 4 years of college in order for me to get this degree in broadcast journalism so that I can, work in media. But when it comes to just manifesting, law of attraction, affirmations, guys, the same principles apply. It will work if we work it. And there are 2 people here who are living examples. Your life is barely recognizable in comparison to where you were when you shared with us last time about the domestic violence situation you were in, where you were challenged with your son, where you were not sure, what was going to happen. And now you're an entrepreneur. Now you're sharing your message with the world. And so I want you guys to know that we want to give you an opportunity to share your message with the world as well. That is what this is about. It's not just about, Arlene sharing, or Darla sharing, we're spending this time to empower you because we believe in you, and we believe that each person on this earth has come here with a message, has come here with a purpose and a vision. And the only thing that we can do throughout our lives, well, the main thing that we could do, and I don't like to use the word should, the main thing that we need to endeavor to do, there we go, is to find out what that one thing is and to begin working on it. Okay. And affirmations are a key secret. So now, Darla, in the last minute that we have here, tell us, how do we get these wonderful 90-day affirmation cards now that we built the plan and we've shown how important and essential they are? Because I want to get my cards too. First of all, how did you make these cards and where do we get them?
Well, I do. They're all hand done. They're all handmade. So I'm going to show you a couple here where you can see a couple of the different colors and some of the design. And so every card is going to be unique to itself, and they're all hand done. I start off with a watercolor paper cut to size and create the 90-day affirmation cards. So
they're made with love.
Yes, 100% by my hand, and I absolutely love doing it. They're all unique and colorful. I mean, they're very vibrant. It's really my passion. I love to paint. It's a very expressive way, and it allows me to really, truly. Painting was probably one of the tools I use for self-expression to get through a lot of pain points in my life. I not only paint the affirmation cards, but I do art, and as well as illustrations. I do tons of artwork.
So much for spending time with us. I'd like to thank our team, Katrina and Ian, for helping us to make this show productive. And I would like to thank you, the listeners, for spending this time with us. Go to bit.ly/Darla Williams to get your cards, and also go to Ask Arlene Show if you'd like to get more information about Darla Williams or about the show, and subscribe. Thank you so much for spending the time with us today. Once again, go where you want to go, do what you want to do, and be who you want to be in the world.
Name some things I'll be without you, good. Stop the growth, I bet you think you could. Said you gon' leave me, man, I wish you would. Yeah, I'm different, so I'm misunderstood. So I'm a